Mate, the US elections are well underway, and it's Trump versus Kamala for the position of president in 2024. But there are voters who are still undecided. So I thought I'd help out with a quick guide covering both candidates and looking at what they've each proposed and taking the piss out of them too, so you can decide who's better. So mate, here's Grade A's guide to the 2024 US elections. Okay, so I'm going to go through each candidate one by one, right? And take the piss out of them as much as I can and talk about their policies and them as people overall. Because that's what matters after all. And the points that I make are going to get more and more harder hitting the further into the video we go. Alright? And I'm going to start with Kamala and then I'll go into Trump. Right? Go in alphabetical order. Sounds good? Alright, let's go. Okay, so I want to start with something quite interesting that I'm sure everyone's noticed about Kamala, right? You barely see her anywhere. Like Trump is doing rallies and interviews and speeches and appearances and podcasts out the arse, right? And Kamala is just hiding away in comparison. Like, have you guys ever heard that phrase? 'Tis better to be silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. Yeah, that's basically her campaign slogan. Trump's out here doing as many appearances and rallies as possible, right? So he can share his policies and views for where he wants to take the country to as many people as possible, right? And Kamala isn't. She's nowhere to be seen. Probably because she doesn't know what her policies and views for the country are herself. Hey, do you know what, right? Let me ask her. Hey, Kamala, what are your policies?
I grew up a middle-class kid.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, so I want to start with a few things about Kamala that all potential voters should know about her. One, she lies. A lot. Like, for example, right? She said she worked at McDonald's.
I worked in McDonald's. I was a student when I was working at McDonald's.
She now proudly says that she's black, but she used to fully present as Indian.
I stand before you as the first candidate for Vice President of South Asian descent.
She puts on fake accents to seem more relatable.
You all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
And recently, she kind of implied that she's a mother.
I've made many mistakes. If you've ever parented a child, you know you make lots of mistakes.
When in fact, she has no children. Lie, 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 lie. I'm sorry, right? These are all fucking lies. Right in front of our faces. But of all the lies she told, right? The biggest one she's ever told, she said that Joe Biden was mentally all there.
Let me say that our president, his ability to understand complex issues in a way that no one else can, to make smart and important decisions, and Joe Biden delivers.
You consider him mentally sharp? Fucking hell. Not exactly something that fills you with confidence, is it? Like, mate, if you lie about this kind of random shit, right? How can you really tell when she's telling the truth? Two, she flip-flops. Oh my god, man. Flip-flops out of the arse. Like, at one point, right, Kamala wanted to defund the police. She initially said the border was safe and secure. Something about healthcare for everyone, right? I forget what it was. Fracking and a mandatory semi-automatic rifle buyback. These are all positions that she held very strongly at one point, but has since changed her mind. Or things she lies about, who knows? But most fucking surprisingly, to me anyways, right? After 8 years of insisting with full confidence that Trump's wall was a shit, racist, and ineffective idea, right? Recently at the CNN town hall, she said,
under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
what? She admitted that Trump's wall was a good idea. How fucking worrying is that? Like, Jesus Christ, man, how mentally slow are you? If it takes you 8 fucking years to realize that a good idea is a good idea, then voting for you is probably not a good idea. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But hey, why did you give me 8 years to realize that for myself, just like you did? Dumb bitch. And 3, I'm sorry, right? But she has performed objectively worse running the country. Inflation is shit, the economy is shit, and the border is absolute fucking shit. Kamala Harris has just come out of a vice presidency where she basically dedicated 100% of her time and attention into the border, right? While the border was just one of many plates that Donald Trump was keeping spinning during his presidency. But despite this, Kamala did a shitter job. Considerably shitter. But in fairness, right, you do have to take into consideration that she was not president. So you can't really say that she's responsible for all the problems out here, right? That was Joe Biden. And Kamala does reassure us that her presidency will be drastically different to his.
I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden. Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency.
But confusingly, right, she then says,
would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
she can't think of anything that she would do differently with Biden's presidency. Jesus, that's a fucking worrying answer, is it not? And to add to that, right, not only does she say she wouldn't do anything differently, but she has also told us that almost all of the disastrous decisions made by the Biden campaign, she deserves full blame for it too.
Our president, I see him every day. A substantial amount of time we spend together is in the Oval Office. I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Aha! Okay, I think I get it now. So it's not so much the case that Kamala's presidency will be a continuation of Joe Biden's, but more that Joe Biden's presidency was a preview of Kamala's. So if you like the direction that America has been going the past 4 years, vote for Kamala! And even more worryingly, right, she can't fucking talk. Listen, I've noticed some patterns with Kamala, as I'm sure everyone has, right, whenever she's asked a question in how she answers. Option 1 is she goes about blaming Trump for her failings.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment, the worst epidemic in a century, the worst attack on our democracy. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess.
Not my fault. Orange man bad, innit? Then we have option 2, right? Which is to completely dodge the question and instead talk about her middle-class upbringing.
When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
I was raised as a middle-class kid.
When we talk about bringing down prices, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
I grew up a middle-class kid.
What's your message to Michigan voters in terms of the economy? The average person can't afford groceries or their rent.
I come from the middle class.
Like anyone cares. And option 3, right, is to say words that don't actually say fucking anything. Like, listen to this, right, and see if you can understand what the fuck this word salad means.
Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
Fucking nonsense! And she also gives absolutely empty, nothing answers that give no information whatsoever. But for some reason, right, people accept them. Like, just listen to the answer she gives, right, when she's asked about specifics on fixing the border.
And part of what we need to do is always prioritize what we need to do to strengthen our border.
Part of what we need to do is prioritize what we need to do. Fucking hell, tell me you don't know how to fix the border without telling me you don't know how to fix the border. Do you know what I mean? Now, seriously, right, I don't understand how these kind of horseshit, empty, nothing answers are allowed by anyone. Because no one else is allowed to do that anywhere else in the world. Ever, are they? Like, imagine doing that in a maths exam back in school. Like, open up your exam and it'll ask you, find the values of X and Y. And imagine having the fucking nerve to write down, I grew up in a middle-class family, where a large importance was placed on finding values of X, Y, and many other letters. To find the values of X and Y, I would carry out the mathematical calculations needed to find the values of X and Y, and I would then write the values here. Thank you. That wouldn't fucking fly, would it? Exactly. So why do we let someone running for president pass with shit like this? And the worst one, right, was when she was giving the speech and her teleprompter glitched out, right? And as a result, so did she. She just stood there awkwardly for what felt like an eternity, right? Saying nothing of substance at all, just repeating the words.
32 days. 32 days. Okay, we got some business to do. All right. 32 days.
Like a broken record. Like, imagine her negotiating with other world leaders, right? She would be fucking hopeless. Like, it definitely gives the impression that unless she's told what's being discussed beforehand so she can plan what to say, or unless she's told what to say directly, she doesn't know what the fuck to say. Not presidential material at all. But I want to end with a little theory that I have about Kamala's supporters specifically, right? And that's that everyone who votes for her isn't actually voting for her. They're just voting against Trump. So much so that they'll vote for anyone or anything to be president. No matter how much of a lying, flip-flopping, malfunctioning retard of a candidate they are, just so long as it isn't Trump. Because they've been conditioned to hate him and believe that he's a bad person by the divisive as fuck media. Because they never mention her amazing policies that they're super excited about, do you know what I mean? Because let's be honest, right? There are no policies at all, let alone amazing ones from Kamala.
Today we're trying to find out from the attendees what Kamala Harris's greatest accomplishment has been as VP.
I can't say anything right now. Give me a second.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because they don't like Trump. Like I saw a video the other day from WWE wrestler Mick Foley saying vote for Kamala, but he didn't spend the video talking about how good Kamala is, right? In fact, he didn't spend a single second doing so. Not 1 second. Probably because there's nothing to say. The entire video was literally,
Enough's enough. Donald Trump is such an obvious con man. There's absolutely nothing fun about this man. I was thinking about calling you a douchebag, only out for himself. I claim he's screwing over the working man. Words are cheap, and he lies almost every time he opens his mouth.
i.e., because she isn't Trump. Which isn't exactly a good thing either. But in my opinion, right, this is a bit of a piss poor reason to vote for a candidate, i.e. because you don't like the other candidate. And I hate this, right? Because one, people who do this often have their minds made up already and have political tunnel vision and will ignore all the good points of the other candidate and ignore all the bad points of their own. So there's a big double standard there.
People pick a fucking team and then whatever that team says, they can do no harm. And it overpowers all discussions.
And two, because when you do this right, it then becomes less about who has the better policies and more about who seems and can come across as the better person. And that's when you really see the fakeness come out. Like one of the big ones that Kamala likes to do, right, is, oh my God, he says mean things. Someone with a dirty mouth like that shouldn't be the president.
Kamala Harris, we can't stand you. You're a vice president.
I have to ask you about your opponent. He used a very ugly term, using the S word.
It demeans the office. Donald Trump should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States.
To stand again behind the seal of the President of the United States? No one standing behind the seal of the President of the United States.
What the fuck, bitch? Give the acting a break. Like, okay, bro, you fucked the economy, you fucked inflation, you fucked the border, not to mention everyone's lives, right? And you don't have any results to show whatsoever, but you put on a better act of being presidential, so people should vote for you over the guy who has undeniable results, yeah? You cannot be serious. When that's the best that you can come up with, right? That's fucking dire. And also, she will say that Donald Trump's mean words and attacking language is so bad, right?
Your opponent, he used the S word.
It demeans the office.
But the people she's affiliated with...
He's prancing and dancing around like a dipshit.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
He was not calling Trump supporters garbage.
It's his supporters. Garbage.
Half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Walz has been criticized for embellishing or telling outright falsehoods about his military record.
Not exactly a whole lot better, are they? And hold up, right? What was that she said about Donald Trump's language again?
It demeans the office.
Right, but having the singer who sang Wet Ass Pussy twerking at a family political event, that doesn't demean the office at all, does it? Great logic. Seriously, right? You have to get your emotions out of your voting. Like, this is not Tinder you're on, right? You don't have to like the other person. You go into the voting booth and cast your ballot for who you think can do a better job of running the country. With all due respect, right? It's not about who you like. And you have an interesting election in 2024, right? Because both candidates have had a go running the country and literally no one agrees that Kamala's administration did a better job. But somehow, there are still millions of people who want to vote for this zero accomplishment lady who wasn't even democratically chosen to be the Democratic nominee. That's pretty crazy and concerning, to be honest. But I'll end on this, right? The tribal mindset that people have when voting, in my opinion, right, needs to fucking stop. Listen, everyone should essentially go into every election being politically homeless, having zero care whatsoever for who's a Democrat or who's a Republican, right? Just looking at the candidates and what they've done in the past and their policies and not which political party they belong to. Because I'm sorry, right? Let's be honest. If Kamala was a Republican, literally no one who is currently voting for her would have voted for her. Not a single fucking one, besides her parents. Maybe. Listen, right? You have to make sure that you aren't having your mind made up for you, whether it's by your family members or the mainstream media, stupid shit like party loyalty or anything else. It's something that we all have to look out for. So make sure you aren't guilty of it yourself. But whatever happens, right? And whoever wins, I wish the best for America and everyone living there. Listen, but I do have to say, right, what Kamala lacks in policies, my God, man, does she make up for it with celebrities? Mate, who needs policies when you have famous people? Like, oh, Kamala, what's your tax plan? Mate, who cares what a tax plan is? Look, it's Beyonce. And listen, right, it's customary to end these kind of roast type things with a few good words about the person you're roasting. She also has a really cute laugh. Fucking yikes. And one thing that I have to respect about Kamala Harris, that no one can deny, right, is her endless dedication to making America healthy again by force-feeding everyone her nutritious as fuck word salads. Best of luck to all the Kamala voters in 2024. Hopefully you get your candidate. And by the way, right, if you're mad at anything I said in this video, don't be mad at me, be mad at Kamala. Because I'm pretty sure I haven't lied about anything, right? And besides, shut up innit? It's just comedy. And also, right, Trump's next, so get ready for that too in the next few days. Hopefully before Tuesday. Alright, cheers boys. Peace.